The New York Rangers defeat the Vancouver Canucks 6-4, and now the New York Rangers have won 6 straight games, and they've gotten points in 8 straight games. So their last loss was an overtime loss to the Toronto Maple Leafs. Their last regulation loss was home against the Boston Bruins, and that was a little less than a month ago. So the Rangers have been winning a lot. This was not really a well played game by the Rangers. They kind of coasted against a bad Vancouver team, at least on the defensive side, and goaltending. Rangers they won the game, and that's the important thing. But definitely not a game that uh, you want the Rangers playing again. But you're not going to complain much considering the amount they've won lately and the fact that they were able to win it here. Artemi Panarin and Mika Zibanejad were definitely, the top performers in this one. And, lately the Rangers star players have been producing. Panarin, had 2 goals in the first period and honestly had a chance, plenty of chances for another hat trick in back-to-back games. But, still, he did well. And Zibanejad, scored the first goal for the Rangers, and he also got an empty net goal. Both Panarin and Zibanejad each recording 3 points, 2 goals, and an assist. And, like tonight, Igor didn't think he played really well, honestly. And he hasn't really been playing all that well lately. But the Rangers have still been winning. So I guess that's a good sign. I mean, obviously, you want Shesterkin to get back into form. But, he did what he had to. And going up against, a goalie making his NHL debut in Arturs Silovs, the Latvian goalie, really, he was kind of hung out to dry. It's a work in progress for Vancouver. And again, there's definitely offensive talent on the team currently, but just the defense is really, really bad. It didn't help that Oliver Ekman-Larsson, who isn't, the same player he was years ago on the Coyotes, but, he left the game in the first. Curtis Lazar, he, scored the first goal of the game, but he got hurt. But for the Rangers, it's a win. They're 32-14-8, and they are trying to track down the Devils and the Hurricanes. And all 3 of those teams just continue to win. And the Rangers' next 2 games will be at Edmonton and at Calgary. Those will be tougher, definitely. And, I don't expect the winning streak to continue. It can. I mean, those teams definitely have their flaws. But those will be tougher tests, especially back-to-back. Shesterkin and Halak will certainly split those two, and we'll see, which goalie gets which team. I think it could certainly go either way. Halak did face Calgary last week. Don't think that really means anything, though. But as far as this game was concerned, same lineup as the last game. So Vitaly Kravtsov a healthy scratch as trade rumors swirl. And, he requested a trade. We'll see what happens. Like I've said before, I would not be surprised if he is dealt by the deadline. Also, Ben Harper was a healthy scratch in this one as well. For the Rangers, tonight's game was really mainly played at even strength. There was only a few penalties in this game. And in the first, Vancouver takes the lead. It's a goal by Curtis Lazar, his 3rd goal of the season from Joshua and Amon. And this was after Trouba was, had some big hits on Joshua, but Joshua kind of gets the last laugh. And he's the one that shot the puck, but I guess it must have deflected off of Lazar before it went in. And, Trouba was kind of out of position. So, that's Trouba's game. It was good until it wasn't. And Vancouver takes a 1-0 lead. But then less than a minute after, it's a goal by Mika Zibanejad. It's Zibanejad's 28th goal of the season from Adam Fox. And so just like that, the Rangers tied up at 1. And the first period was pretty crazy. I mean, there was a ton of goals in the first. And then very soon after the Zibanejad goal, Artemi Panarin scores on a nice pass by Jimmy Vesey. So that, sort of combination trio with Trocheck centering, did a pretty nice job offensively. And so Panarin scores his 17th, like I said, from Vesey. Rangers take a 2-1 lead. But then a penalty is taken by Alexis Lafreniere. He hooks Connor Garland at 11:21, and Shesterkin loses his stick. Trouba kind of clumsy, was the reason why Shesterkin lost it. And so without a stick, JT Miller scores. The former Ranger scores his 19th goal of the season from Pedersen and Quinn Hughes, and Vancouver ties it up. But then the Rangers take the lead at 32nd of the first. It's another goal for Artemi Panarin. It's his 18th goal of the season. He deflects the shot by Mika. Schneider gets the other assist. So, Panarin at that point with like 6 goals and basically, 2 periods plus. Just ridiculous. And the Rangers up 3-2. A bit of a sloppy period, and that's kind of how the game would go. But, they take that 3-2 lead going into the second, and right away, Chris Kreider scores his 22nd goal of the season from Zibanejad and Tarasenko 50 seconds into that second period. And with that goal, he passes Mark Messier and the all-time goals leaders for the New York Rangers. It's his 251st career goal. So that puts him at like 6th or 7th all-time in Ranger history. Pretty amazing. And so Rangers take a 2-goal lead. Then it's a penalty by Nico Mikkola. He holds Connor Garland. And for Mikkola, there's been struggles, and I'm a little bit concerned about, what he will be. Again, I'd like to think that he is an improvement over what they had. There's definite upside with him. He has the physical abilities. I feel like he's trying to do too much. I feel like he's really, a bit scrambly, like with the puck. I think if he just plays a more simple game, that will, be good for him. But I think he's trying to force the issue, and here he takes a holding penalty, and then, he gets out of the box, and this is where Lindgren tries to clear it, and Mikola's out of the box. Lindgren tries to clear it. It goes off of Kakko, and then Kakko's unable to get it out. Just a poor job of clearing the puck, and eventually it ends up in the back of the net. Connor Garland scores his 11th goal of the season from Kuzmenko and Dries, and it's 4-3 just like that. But the Rangers get that 2-goal lead back. It's a goal by Keandre Miller, his 6th goal of the season unassisted. Originally, assists were given to Hedl and Schruber. They took those away, which is interesting, but the kid line was on for that. Kid line wasn't really all that good tonight, as they had been in the past. I thought they were all right, nothing great. But the Rangers take a 5-3 lead, and then the Rangers actually get a power play. Tarasenko is hooked by Aman, and the Rangers power play does not score. We go into the third with the Rangers holding on to a 5-3 lead, and it wasn't really a very good third period for the Rangers at all. They held on. Kuzmenko scores his 23rd goal of the season from Pedersen and Beauvillier at 8:51, and this was a goal that deflected off of, I guess, Mikkola and past Shesterkin. But again, Shesterkin, really didn't look all that comfortable tonight at any point. And it's a 1-goal game, and Vancouver had chances to tie it up. They definitely did, and Igor was up to the task. But eventually, the Rangers scored an empty net goal to seal it. It started out with Shesterkin trying to score. It didn't happen, but comes out of the zone. I know Vesey was on the ice, and Panarin had a chance at a hat trick. But former Ranger Phil DiGiuseppe, it goes off his leg, and then Zibanejad is able to score. So it's Zibanejad's 2nd goal of the night, his 29th goal of the season from Panarin. The Rangers take a 6-4 lead. They win the game 6-4. And yeah, in this one, like I said, kid line wasn't really all that prominent. Gallant definitely, kind of like what we saw the last 2 games, where he was rolling 4 lines, and the third pair, Mikkola and Schneider were playing a lot. So it definitely lessens the load from the top players. That's a good thing. Jake Leschyshyn almost did score. In fact, it kind of looked, on replay, like the puck might have crossed the red line, but then again, it might have been off of his skate. It amounted to nothing, but, again, Leschyshyn needs to be out of the lineup. I continue to say that I like what Gauthier provides, although acknowledging that defensively he's not very good at all. So I wouldn't be shocked to see him as a healthy scratch when it gets important. But for now, I definitely want him in there. And Goodrow's kind of just, been there on that line. I'm sure that'll change a bit. But, again, the depth of this team, I think, definitely, could use some tweaks for sure. And I would expect that Drury will address that by the deadline. I think that will be helpful. Certainly a 4th-line center really comes to mind, and just another depth defenseman. I think those 2 things. Other than that, this is what the team will be. But Rangers, they beat the Canucks. Like Tarasenko, didn't think he was really all that great tonight, but he gets an assist. He was a +2. Like, that Zibanejad line was pretty good. And so, now they head to Edmonton, who's coming off of a 5-4 shootout loss to the Detroit Red Wings. And the Rangers, look, they blew one against Edmonton at home. The Rangers were up 3-0 going into the third. They ended up losing that game in regulation 4-3. Rangers should have won that game. And look, you'd expect a lot of scoring in this Rangers-Oilers game. It should be a fun one. The last time they went to Edmonton was last year when Connor McDavid scored that ridiculous goal to tie the game up late against the Rangers. The Rangers eventually lost it in overtime. That night, Georgiev was in net. And we'll see, and that was a Friday night game. It's funny, that was also a Friday-Saturday situation, although much earlier in the season. But Edmonton-Calgary coming up. These, I believe, will be pretty good tests. The Western Conference isn't all that good, but you go on the road, and you go on these Western Canada trips, and they're not easy. And so, if the Rangers could take 3 out of 4 points, I would sign up for that in a heartbeat. But we'll see what happens. Again, the Rangers don't play all that well tonight, but they win 6-4, and they have now won 6 in a row.